these glowy? I don't know. I can't. I feel like my glasses are reflecting off of the light, and I don't know if it's gonna be annoying or not. So, alrighty. I don't really even know what to say. I don't. So, hey y'all. It's really great to see everybody again. It's been a difficult month. So, it's December. I'm actually filming this December 7th, a date which shall live in infamy. And it's been a month, and my husband and I had a miscarriage last month. So that was in November, it was the beginning of November. And it's our second miscarriage in 9 months. So I officially have recurrent miscarriages at this point. So I've had 2 back-to-back. I had one in May. And when I had the first one, I made a video a week out. Like, it was it was more for me than anything, honestly. I cope a lot through talking, and I cope through just voicing it. I know some people keep everything in, and for me, it's very much so about getting it out and speaking it and all that. So I made the video because I wanted to help other people, but I also made it for me and to talk about my story and to give my baby that passed just a voice and a story. And so this time, it's been a month, and so it's a little different. I waited, and I didn't wait. Every loss is so different. This loss was so different than the first loss. The first loss, I had surgery. It was a miscarriage. The baby actually progressed a lot longer, almost double the amount of time that this second loss. The second loss was very, very soon. It was at 6 weeks, and I miscarried at home. So, I feel like they were just 2 very, very separate experiences, but both very, very difficult and hard to go through. And all that being said, I said when I had my first loss that I wanted to do a video at 1 week, at a month, and I think I did a 3-month video, and then I wanted to do one that was like 6 months or my due date. And so my due date for Samson, who was the first baby we lost, was December 3rd. And so I wanted to go ahead and make this video for how I'm doing on my due date. So this video is being filmed on a Monday, and my technical due date was on a Thursday, but and then also, I guess, kind of tell everyone that I did have a second miscarriage. And so, it's weird because it's interesting how life works, because I was actually in a really, really good spot. I did a lot of healing over the summer, and my husband and I did not immediately start trying. We took 4 months and did not try at all. Just allowed for physical and emotional healing. And I continued on my wellness journey, and by the time we decided to try for the second baby, we were fully healed. And what I mean by fully healed was not that it wasn't hurting, and not that it didn't cause pain or, a heartache, but I didn't burst into tears every time I thought of Samson, and I wasn't angry with God, and I had accepted what was. And so going into my due date prior to the miscarriage, I was feeling pretty well. I found out I was pregnant in October, and so that was 2 months prior, and I was honestly okay. I was excited, and when I found out, I was like, oh, that's wonderful. I'm actually going to be pregnant on what would have been my due date, and I just was feeling great. I felt like, okay, I may have lost one, but I'm not going to lose this one. There's no way. But it was so weird. As soon as I found out I was pregnant, I felt this anxiety and this fear just over the whole thing. And so there was about 3 weeks that I knew I was pregnant before we lost the baby. And every day I just lived in fear. And we shouldn't. The Lord tells us not to live in fear, but I did. I was terrified of losing this baby. And I feel like I just knew. And the day before I lost the baby, I just felt like something was wrong. I felt like it was going to happen. And the minute that I saw some spotting, I just knew. And so then the next day it actually did occur, and that kind of led me into a whole different month than I thought I was going to have. I thought that in November, which would have been my 9th month of pregnancy for my first baby I lost, I thought it was going to be a lot happier because I was pregnant with the second baby, and I had healed from the first loss, and this was just going to be so different, and I was so excited. And then when I lost the baby the first week of November, it set me up to have a really difficult month. I just really struggled. I won't sugarcoat it. I won't tell you, oh, I was okay, I was getting by. No. There were days I didn't get out of bed. There were days that I just didn't really function well. There were days that my marriage didn't do well. There were days that I didn't go to work. I certainly didn't work on Biblically Blonde. That was not anything that I did, which is a shame because I love this. It's so much fun to make these videos that I do, but no, I didn't do that. And I just really struggled, and that's okay. It is what it is. I'm back, and I'm happy to be trucking along. And if you are someone who's gone through recurrent miscarriage, or even just one, just know that it may take some time, and it's okay. If people want you to be okay the next day, you take all the time that you need to be okay. It took me about 3.5 weeks before I decided that I wanted to be okay. And so you'll eventually get there. It may take you 2 months. It may take you a week. It may take you a day. I've read so many stories now of women who everyone gets, I don't want to use the word get over it. Everyone heals, whenever it is that they're ready. And healing is a process. So now filming this, I can film it. I can talk about it. I can do things. I can function better. But I'm certainly not healed. This second loss just hurt. That's the only way I can describe it. The first loss, I just thought, it's okay, glory be to my struggles, and God has a plan. And then in the second loss, I still believe that. My faith has not weakened, but I definitely feel I feel like God is a little farther away than what he's been in my life in the last few years. And that's probably because I've kind of pushed him away. So I welcome him back into my life. I love him. I know he's always there. But I think when we go through things multiple times that really hurt, it's hard for us to make sense of it. And that's kind of where I am. It's just hard for me to make sense of it all. So now that I've rambled and talked about this forever, I just want to say that this video is not a helpful video probably at all to anyone, and that's not what it's supposed to be, so it's alright. Yeah, so when you go through miscarriage, you will come to your due date. And in my case, I had just experienced a second loss. Had I not have experienced that, I think it might not have been as bad. And if you are someone who is struggling with their due date, I encourage you to find comfort in the things that bring you happiness. And so for me, I really find comfort in the fact that I have a lot of freedom in my life. My sister has a 1-year-old, and she doesn't have any freedom. I can literally pick up and go whenever I want. I don't have to ask anyone to watch anything. I just have the freedom that you have when you don't have children. And while I desperately want children, I don't find any shame in being thankful for the freedom that I have right now. And that does bring me joy. Running brings me joy. Working on Biblically Blonde brings me joy. Being with my husband brings me joy. The life that God has blessed me with brings me joy. The fact that my whole family right now in 2020 is healthy brings me joy. Cookies and candy bring me joy. They don't bring my weight joy, but they bring me joy. So I guess that was what I would say. I have been clinging in the last week or so to the things that bring me joy. And through that, I have been able to find peace with the first loss. I will not say I found peace with the second because I just haven't yet. But when it comes to Samson and that loss, I certainly am at peace, and I know that my son is up there and I'm going to see him one day. And everything else besides that is just in God's plan. So, alrighty, y'all. I know that was kind of out there. It was just me talking. That's what all these, unfortunately, all these miscarriage videos have really been about. It's just me talking through things. I hope that if you're out there and you watch this and you're going through that, maybe some of my words made any sense to you. That's really the whole point, right? Is that maybe somewhere out there on the World Wide Web, there's one person out there that understands, what we're saying to each other. So I love y'all. I'll see you in the next video.